Part 2, Karma. Exposing the secret affair behind my cheating wife's happy 2-year marriage. That night my father called. The disappointment was audible before he even said my name. I heard what happened with Sophie and Travis, he began. You could have shown some decency. I tried to explain the years of hurt, how impossible it felt to pretend concern. He spoke over me. I raised you better than this. Family matters, compassion matters. You should have visited her. I reminded him that Jenny had violated every vow. My father fell silent, and then, in a moment that changed everything, he muttered a line that slipped past his guard. After what I went through with your mother, I thought you would understand. A chill crept along my skin. My parents had celebrated their 40th anniversary the year before. I had never heard a whisper of infidelity. I asked him to explain. Regret clouded his voice. Early in our marriage, your mother had an affair. We worked through it. I forgave her. The floor seemed to tilt. The marriage I used as a model contained a secret fracture. I told him I was not him and would never mirror his choice. He told me I did not grasp the complexity of commitment. The call ended with both of us raw connection frayed. Over the next week, my phone filled with family messages. My sister Elena sided with Dad. My mother remained silent. When I finally spoke to her in person, she confirmed the story, tears brimming, but never falling. She said, "Love can survive betrayal if both people fight for it." I answered that love also means refusing to accept disrespect. We hugged, but the hug felt fragile. During this turmoil, Jenny found my new number. One evening, a text pinged while I cooked dinner. "Can we talk?" I stared stunned. She still had roots into my life. I typed a single reply. "What do you want?" Her response came fast. "I need to apologize properly. I have been doing a lot of thinking since the accident." Anger surged, but curiosity edged in. 3 years of silence, and now she reached out. I typed a final line. "There is nothing to discuss. Do not contact me again." I blocked the number. Minutes later, Elena texted to say Jenny had reached out to her as well. Elena urged me to listen, claiming the accident had changed. Jenny taught her humility. I told my sister to stay out of it. Days passed quietly, tension curling in the background. I woke one night from an anxious dream and could not drift back to sleep. Remembering the way running cleared my head, I laced up shoes and hit the dark streets, pounding miles, until dawn touched the sky. The exhaustion felt cleaner than worry. I thought the situation had cooled. It had not. My mother called on a Sunday afternoon when I was folding laundry. She told me Jenny had contacted her too, that Jenny regretted everything and feared she might not survive. "Victor, the doctors say her injuries are worse than we realized. She wants to make things right before it is too late." My chest tightened. The freight of those words pressed memories to the surface, our wedding vows, the tiny sneakers, her laughter on the beach during our honeymoon. I also saw the text thread with Damien, each line cutting fresh. Emotion tangled itself into a knot I could not name. My mother pleaded one last time, "Just talk to her. You do not have to forgive, but do not carry the weight forever." I told her I would think about it. When the call ended, I sat on the floor amid half-folded shirts, staring at the wall, heartbeat loud in my ears. 20 minutes passed before I moved. Over the next 72 hours, indecision chewed at me. 1 minute, I rehearsed a speech filled with righteous anger. The next, I pictured her alone in a sterile hospital room, scared and broken. I did not wish suffering on her, not really, but I also did not owe her comfort. On the third night, sleep would not come. At midnight, I grabbed my keys for a drive with no destination. City lights blurred by. Music, low window cracked. I let the engines hum, settle my nerves. Without planning it, I exited near the medical district. A few turns later, the hospital's blue sign glowed ahead. I pulled into the lot parked beneath a lamp and shut off the car. Hands on the steering wheel, I argued with myself for an hour. Finally, I whispered, "See her or leave forever." I stepped out into the chilled air. The lobby smelled of disinfectant and coffee. A tired nurse directed me to critical care room 214. Each step down the corridor echoed. I paused outside the door, palm pressed to the cool metal handle. The past 3 years pressed in, but the future waited too. I drew a long breath, opened the door, and stepped inside. Inside the room, the only light came from a small lamp near the bed. Machines whispered and blinked in quiet rhythm. Jenny looked impossibly small against the white sheets. Her hair, once glossy, was cropped short around stitches near her temple. A cast swallowed most of her left leg. For a few seconds, I just stood there, not sure if she was awake. Then her eyes slid open and met mine. Shock flickered quickly, replaced by something gentler. "Victor," she said, voice thin, almost papery. "You really came." I moved to the foot of the bed, but kept a safe distance, hands resting on the rail. "Your mother called. She said you didn't have much time." Jenny nodded, wincing as she shifted her shoulders. "The doctors are honest. Internal injuries, complications. They can manage the pain, but not the damage." She paused, working to catch her breath. "Thank you for at least hearing me." I tried to steady my pulse. Old memories jostled for space with the present scene. I pictured the glowing restaurant text on her screen the night she begged on our living room floor, the feel of the divorce papers in my hand. I also saw her laughing on our honeymoon hair whipping in the wind on a cliff near Big Sur. Both versions of her stood here overlapping in a way that felt unreal. "I need to say something first," I replied. "I am not here to forgive or reconcile. I am here because I do not want to carry unfinished words for the rest of my life." Tears welled in her eyes, though her voice stayed even. "I understand. Please let me explain what happened, at least from my side." I hesitated, then nodded once. She stared at the ceiling, gathering strength. "During our 3rd year, I felt like everything about me was numbers and deadlines and fertility charts. I was terrified I would disappoint you by failing to get pregnant, terrified of turning 30 without a child. I should have talked to you. Instead, I ran. Damien was nothing special. He was just convenient attention at the exact moment I felt invisible." She swallowed hard. "I never loved him. I never stopped loving you even while I was wrecking us. That is twisted, I know, but it is true." A long beep echoed from the monitor, as if confirming the grim irony. I pressed fingers to my temple, fighting a rising throb. "You say you loved me," I answered, "but real love does not lie in hotel rooms and hide messages. Real love says, 'I am scared, help me.'" She closed her eyes, a tear sliding across her temple. "You are right. I was a coward. There is nothing I can do to fix it. But I need you to know I carry full blame. I told myself for a long time that we both failed, that maybe you worked too much or I was lonely. All excuses. The truth is, I chose betrayal." Hearing her speak that word out loud loosened something inside me. All this time others had called it a mistake, a slip, a lapse. She finally called it what it was. "I spent 3 years hating you," I said, voice low. Then one day the hate burned out. What was left was heavier, a sort of permanent bruise. Nothing changes that. But you naming it helps. For the first time since entering the room, I noticed how worn her hands looked, skin dry and pale. She traced the blanket edge with one finger, as if memorizing texture. "There is more," she whispered. "The accident happened after another night of searching for distractions. I was coming home from a bar alone, but drunk, still running from myself. The car skidded off the road. When I woke in the ambulance, I realized I might die without ever making things right." Her voice cracked. "I do not expect heaven, Victor, but I wanted to leave a smaller mess behind." Silence pooled. Machines clicked, air vents hummed. "I appreciate the honesty," I said. The words surprised me, but they felt accurate. I will never forget, but I do not want either of us defined forever by one act. You were more than the worst thing you did, and so was I. She looked at me, eyes shining. Does that mean you forgive me? I exhaled slowly. Forgiveness is complicated. What I can offer is release. I am choosing to set down the weight. That is all I have. A quiet sob escaped her, yet her face lit with relief. That is more than I deserve. Thank you. I reached out almost on instinct and rested my hand near hers, not touching, but close. She turned her palm upward until our fingertips met for a second, a faint brush that felt like the last page of a long book sealing shut. Her eyelids drooped, exhaustion overtaking adrenaline. Will you stay a minute? She asked. I pulled a chair closer and sat watching the slow rise and fall of her chest. She drifted into a light sleep. After a while, I stood, placed the chair back, and whispered, "Goodbye, Jenny." She did not wake. I stepped into the hallway, letting the door click behind me, and walked until fluorescent lights gave way to the cool night outside. In the car, a shudder ran through my body, then a deep breath followed by another. I felt empty, but not hollow. More like a room after clutter is cleared, waiting for fresh air. Jenny died 19 days later. Sophie called to tell me. I expressed condolences and ended the call within a minute. I did not attend the funeral. Instead, I took a dawn hike along the same lake where Mark and I had camped. Mist skimmed the surface, and the world felt stripped to essentials water tree's breath. I spoke aloud a simple farewell to a past that was finally past. Grief visited in odd flashes. A song we once danced to played in a cafe, and I needed a moment outside. A TV ad for prenatal vitamins stirred memories of the tiny sneakers in my sister's attic. But the grief no longer cut it, only tugged, and then it let go. Life opened gradually. I kept therapy appointments, joined a book club, took a pottery class that ruined 3 shirts with clay, but taught patience in a new form. I dated occasionally. Some evenings ended in polite handshakes at ride-share doors, others in quiet laughter over ice cream, none in anything lasting. I was discerning, maybe overly so, yet content. 5 months after Jenny's passing, I attended a friend's housewarming. The place was crowded and loud red Solo cups everywhere. Near the kitchen island, I bumped elbows with a woman reaching for the same bottle opener. She laughed, I apologized. She teased that I owed her the first pour. Her name was Clara. Conversation flowed with surprising ease. She worked in public health, loved old vinyl records, hated small talk, but enjoyed deep dives into odd topics like why fireflies flash in patterns. When the party shifted to a bar crawl, we both declined staying behind to help the host stack plates. We ended up on the back porch under string lights, talking until our breaths made fog in the chilly air. Our first official date happened the following week, a walk through an outdoor art market. We paused at every booth, making up wild backstories for each painting. With Clara, I never felt the need to perform. She asked direct questions and listened without scanning the room for someone more interesting. Months have passed since that night. We see each other often, sometimes cooking experimental stir-fries, sometimes reading in easy silence. We discussed our pasts, early trading the unvarnished versions. She knows about Jenny, the affair, the hospital visit. Her response was simple. That sounds brutal. I'm glad you survived it. No judgment, no pity, just recognition. We do not plan wedding dates or pick baby names. We talk about maybe years instead of definitely. It feels healthy. My therapist calls it living in the present tense. I call it breathing freely. I keep the card on my bathroom mirror, though the ink has faded a bit. Betrayal does not define every plank in the structure of my life. Some mornings I read it and smile, because now I believe it without effort. The weight has lifted, and in the cleared space, new things grow. That is where the story stands for now. Not a perfect ending, just an honest continuation. Jenny rests my family, and I keep learning from old wounds, and I wake grateful for ordinary days that belong fully to the life I am building. Thank you for listening to today's stories. If you enjoyed listening, please like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Also, leave a comment below to share your thoughts on what happened. Take care.